I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it, ever? Or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Down the middle, James, the lateral to the corner of the end zone. Can you believe that?
Welcome in, everybody, to the Group of 5 Guys podcast. Today on the show, we're going to review Week 3. Had a lot of good games, had some Power 5 wins once again, not quite as good as last week. We're going to preview Week 4. Before we go any further, you guys make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Group of 5 Guys. And we would really, really appreciate your help if you could go to group5guys.com. Buy some Group of 5 Guys swag. We got hoodies on there, T-shirts, tank tops, masks, stickers, magnets, blankets, all kind of fancy stuff on there. It would help us so we can travel to more games. Want to go around the horn, see how the boys are doing. Jesse Grisham, Derrick Henry jersey, how are you?
Matt, I'm not wearing this jersey because of just being a Tennessee Titans fan, because really I'm not even a big Tennessee Titans fan. I'm wearing an NFL jersey because I've come to the conclusion that Group of 5 football is just like the NFL. Any team will beat any team any day because there were so many for sure locks. I know Jeff Murphy is salty as all get out because I think a lot of it, impacted his parlays, mine as well. Anybody can beat anybody. There's no consistency right now, and it's annoying, but fun to watch, but a little annoyed right now. A little annoyed today.
I hear you on that. Yeah, I mean, it's early, but I mean, all the favorites have already lost, in the Group of 5, so it's there's really no telling what. We don't know who the top teams are. We're just hoping for the best every week. But I'll tell you, speaking of NFL, my Miami Dolphins, boys and girls, Tua looks like, unbelievable. 6 touchdown passes.
He was on my bench. Jeff's so lucky he was on my bench.
We got a good ball club down in Miami. 2-0, on pace for an undefeated season, be the second undefeated season ever since 1972. Nothing further on that. Tyler Tipton, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Sprouse. Just another week and another week of Group of 5 teams beating Power 5 teams. You absolutely love to see it. Can't wait to go over these Week 3 games from this past week and look ahead to Week 4 coming up.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. These games, it has been – I know we were in Murfreesboro this past weekend. We were in Boone a couple weeks ago. But if you're a guy that's got 3-4 TVs and can sit on the couch or sit at your bar, sit in your basement, wherever you watch games, and these games have been incredible. Down to the wire. Every time slot, there's a freaking game coming down to the wire, going to overtime, coming down to a field goal, something like that. But it's been awesome. Last but not,
I couldn't be an App State fan because I'd had a heart attack already. They're killing their fans left and right.
I don't. It don't matter who they play.
No.
But last but not least, Jeff Murphy, how are you this fine evening?
I'm doing great, Sprouse. Another great weekend. College football. Got to call the MTSU TSU, Tennessee State game. And boys, the Blue Raiders are rolling. They are back. I think we were back to prominence. Chase Cunningham, Frank Peasant running all over the field. But that was another great weekend. Unpredictable weekend, like Grisham said. And it's what college football's about, I guess, right? Unpredictability and just a lot of scoring and a lot of great games.
MTSU just need that Week 1 wake-up call. That's all it was. Now they're rolling, Jeff.
I don't even know if it was a wake-up call. I think
James Madison.
James Madison's the real deal. I'm just going to be honest with you. And they get a huge test coming up
Find out
this week of what they're made out of. So
At App State, is that it?
Yep.
Whew.
About App State getting 3 home games already. That's crazy.
Pays to have
Anyway.
a good AD.
Yeah, Anyway, it wasn't all good this weekend. Some things were, as Jesse Grisham would say, atrocious. I'm going to go to you. Who do you got from the weekend? Give me your worst of the weekend, Jess.
Well, let me go ahead and just say, when we look at the group of 5, there's usually 2 or 3 teams that the group of 5 can look at to hope to make some kind of statement, to make noise for the playoffs. For the Power 5 bias fans, a team that they're looking at to see, okay, are they going to knock off, get into the 4th or 5th ranked spot? Last year, we were able to look at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati was that team. They were able to win the games they were supposed to win, and they knocked off the Power 5 top-ranked teams to get to where they needed to be. Well, this year, I didn't think it was going to be Cincinnati. They lost too many guys into the draft last year, so what we're looking at is my number 1 seed, and I think everybody else's, besides maybe Jeff, was the Houston Cougars. And Houston Cougars are now the atrocious award-giving Week 3 team because these guys are overrated. Dana Holgerson has lost at least 10% more hair this year because his team is just not showing up. It's not really his team. Let me back up. His offense is actually playing quite good. Clayton Tune, he came in this preseason. He's going to be throwing some dimes. The offense has performed. Their O-line has been blocking. They've been putting points on the board. It's that defense. That defense is atrocious. I'm actually going to change my atrocious award to the Houston defense because you couldn't stop a nosebleed, and you're going to cost your team even more, cost them more wins in the future. I mean, for example, guys, they played UTSA Week 1. They gave up 441 yards on UTSA. 337 were passing. In Week 2 against Texas Tech, they gave up 468 yards. And then this past week against Kansas, 438 yards. And not only that, 280 yards of that 438 was rushing from Kansas. Now, Kansas might be getting a little better. I get it. But now they should be 3-0. We all thought they'd be 3-0. They are 1-2, and they have no shot going to the playoffs. They're making the group. They're bringing the group of 5 down. But not only that, they're now getting in fights on the sidelines. You got Sam Brown and Joseph Manjack over here brawling like UCF or UFC, whatever, same thing. They're brawling each other on the sidelines, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Luckily, though, we have a really good team in the American Conference that's actually making noise. It's going to be Tulane, and guess what? If they beat Southern Miss this weekend, they're going to Houston and next week or in 2 weeks, and they're going to be playing at Houston, and they'll probably be undefeated. And Michael Pratt right now, that guy is killing it at Tulane. So look out, Houston, because if that defense stays atrocious, you're going to have an atrocious season, my friend. It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
May I rebuttal?
Oh, yes, please.
Just a little bit, and we don't have to go too deep into it. I think no excuse for the fighting on the sidelines. That's ridiculous. They got to get that figured out. But UTSA is a damn good team, and I don't think they're getting enough respect. So we all knew that was going to be a shootout. Texas Tech, yes, Houston should have won that game as well. But you have Zach Kitley that goes down there that broke all tons of record at Western Kentucky last year, and he was a huge key on why they did that. So again, another tough matchup. Same thing with Kansas. You have Buffalo's head coach that brought Buffalo to where they were, and then he goes to Kansas. He's a program builder, really good coach. So yes, Houston has underachieved. I agree with you there. But I think once they get settled down, they get into conference, I think Houston will get it going. They'll get things figured out. And I still think they're one of the top teams in the American.
But they were supposed to be this year Cincinnati. That's out the window now.
I never said they were going to be this year Cincinnati.
No, you didn't. I think you were Fresno, but they're kind of the same. I mean, I think Fresno has had a tougher schedule by far.
Yeah,
but
I'm just saying as far as Houston goes, like I had them winning the American, and I still think they're going to win the American because I'm going to stick with it. But I don't know. They're a good team. They went up against some really good. They went up against some really good offenses now. That's all I got to say about it.
I'm changing from my Houston. That little sideline business. I mean, they only got two options here. That either maybe they're having a players only meeting right this second, and they're fixing that BS, or they just completely fall apart and they may start struggling. I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm watching the American teams, and I'm looking at ECU, I'm looking at Tulane, and I hate to say it, but because I was wrong about this preseason, to me, it's clear that Cincinnati's still the top dog.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I were to have an atrocious award, it would be for this AP poll, because how in the hell can Cincinnati goes to Arkansas and loses by one touchdown. Arkansas, what are they right now? 8, 9?
Yeah, they're in top 10. I know that.
And Cincinnati's, I don't even know if they're receiving votes. And then you got these teams like the Miami Hurricanes, like Texas A&M, that haven't done anything impressive, and they're still in the top 25. It's just the metrics that these guys use to call, to rank these teams is ridiculous.
It's because they use what they voted off last week. They base their opinion based off what they had that person ranked last week, which was then based off the week before that. So never ending cycle. They ought to just start a clean slate each week.
I'm telling you. Well, I don't know about each week, but they shouldn't have preseason polls. I mean, that's for damn sure.
Honestly, they shouldn't come out until about week 4 or week 5.
Yeah, I'll give respect to them because we're over here ranking the top 10 group of 5 teams for our group of 5 rankings each week. This was the hardest rankings. I mean, I was sitting in my cube for like 2 hours actually working on this. Everybody's I was working.
Well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard, especially, damn near everybody's 2-1, and you're like, well, Air Force looked really good, but then they just lost to Wyoming. So, okay, well, Wyoming's really good. Well, but Wyoming got smoked week 1. So it's definitely tough. I think it'll sort itself out in another 2 or 3 weeks. You'll start having teams that are 4-1, 5-1, and then everybody else will be hovering around 500.
Well, once you get into conference, everything tends to tighten up when you get into conference. Like I said, everyone knows each other. And, this is we're still very early on this transfer portal stuff. All this is going to affect how teams are, the recruit. We're just seeing a lot of change, and I think it's just affecting, a lot of these outcomes of these games, especially when it comes to preseason rankings. I think they're just useless with all this transfer stuff.
Yeah, no question. Well, I'll tell you what's becoming, maybe it already is, my favorite part of our entire podcast. It's this hotline we're getting. And you guys, we appreciate all the calls, all the voicemails. Y'all make sure you keep calling 615-900-4286. Leave your voicemail. These ones that are coming right after games are incredible. Just the raw emotion we're getting from some of these fans. Keep that coming. And to be honest with you, I'd like to start seeing on Sundays. We had a little bit of that last week with Troy and App. I'd like to see on Sundays you guys start calling, talking trash, for the upcoming week, making your predictions. But, Jeff, if you've got these pulled up, let's hear them.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the calls. Keep them coming. And just to note, if you guys do want to get these in for the show, you got to get them in by Sunday night. That's kind of the cutoff. You get them in Monday morning, it's hit or miss, but try and get them in Sunday night. That's the best time, or before, obviously, before the games even start. So, first one we got is a new caller. We got Brad. So check out Brad.
Hey guys, it's Brad. I guess you could say first time, short time, because this is the first time I've watched or listened to your show. So I'm been following the MAC, so I'm coming at the group of 5 from the MAC perspective. I'm a Western Michigan alum from back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And I've been screaming at something and just wanted to get your take on it and see how it matures over the years. Now, I've been saying that the Power 5, now that we have that name, separate, or the group of 5 separate from the Power 5, that they should really, from a football perspective, create their own subdivision, either merge with FCS or create their own and play for a championship. And my point is this, and I know many of you are probably shaking your heads, so hold on. The timing's bad for me because I understand that we've just increased the amount of teams that will play in the playoffs to 12. But I think what we're going to see is let's say a 10-2 team coming out of the MAC East is not going to make it in over a 9-3 Clemson or something like that. And the group of 5 will always be beggars at this thing saying, please, sir, can we come in? And 1, maybe 2 will be let in. I really feel strongly that the group of 5 should create their own space, play meaningful football in November, get people in the stands. And you're still going to play Penn State. You're still going to get your $1.5 million check from Texas A&M. But then after that's done and everybody's playing each other, you have a chance. I think the bowls is probably the biggest problem. But anyways, just kind of curious what you think. I really just want to, at the end, see full stadiums and meaningful football into November for the Group of Five, and I think that's the only way to do it. Thanks. Look forward to your comments.
Appreciate it, Brad.
I mean, I'm in the 16 team playoff camp, so I want every single conference champion to be in. That's pretty unlikely, though, at least the way it stands right now. I just don't ever want to give up the fact that I believe that we're a lesser quality of football. And even if that means we're fighting these guys till the end of time, I don't ever want to do it. Now, he does have a point. I do think, if you're a 10-2 MAC team playing for a championship, probably would have fuller stadiums. But I don't know. I want every conference champion and then 6 at large to be in. I want if you're, and I think that would solve everybody's issues. You would still be able to get your 2 or 3 SEC or Big Ten schools in. You'd get your one team from each Group of 5 conference. Maybe if we're lucky, you get one at large Group of 5 school. But that's what I want. But I do get the point. I see what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see when they go to the 12 team and see how much that changes and what the stipulations are on that. I think eventually the SEC and the Big Ten and the big conferences are honestly going to break away from the NCAA. So I think it will eventually get to that. That's just the way it looks with the money and the moves that everybody's making. So I think eventually it will get to that. I don't want that. I'm with you, Sprouse. I want to always have a chance, a puncher's shot at the grandest stage, playing the best competition. But I mean, I think eventually that's what is going to happen. And as long as they have a playoff at that point, if the SEC and the big conferences do end up breaking away, as long as you got a playoff, that's really all I care about.
Yeah. What else you got, Jeff? Thanks for the call, Brad.
Yeah, Brad, appreciate the call. Keep them coming, and I'll answer any questions that we can. And
you ever think like the way players are evolving like each decade? Remember, like football 50 years ago, a right guard was like 205 pounds, and now you're looking at 310, 315 pounders. And each year, we got guys developing more and more, and you have these teams that are getting all the talent. I'm curious to see where we are in 20 years, because eventually there's going to be so many good players, so much talent around that there's going to be enough teams. Or all these teams are going to have just 4 or 5 star players, in my opinion. I'm over here looking at kids on Rivals today, and these 3 stars would be 5 stars 10 years ago. Just my opinion.
I agree with you. I mean, that's why you look at when they're evaluating at the highest level in the NFL, and they're measuring your finger length and your hands. Like, it ain't anymore like if you can play, you can play. It's like there's so many good guys out there.
Exactly.
That they've got to measure things that are pretty much useless. I mean, for the most part. And I'm with you.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, okay, I got 6 left tackles that are just immaculate. Okay. Well, that 6th left tackle, he might be now at, Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, I mean, if this was 1960, Jesse, and you're coming out of Spain Park and you're 6'4", 265 or whatever you were coming out of high school, you're going to be, I mean, they're going to be giving you car dealerships. You're going to have the biggest NIL deal in the world. And now there's 2 or 3 guys like that in every high school.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the evolution of football, I guess.
Grisham would have got an NIL deal with Panda Express.
That would be a pretty good one.
Him and the Bear.
That would be pretty good.
That would be pretty funny.
All right. Appreciate it, Brad. All right, next caller, we have our boy Zachary Branner. And this was a pregame call, and then we have the postgame call. So let's get to the pregame one.
What's up, boys? This is Zachary Branner, Troy Trojan. Just watched the game day picks. We're not shocked. We're not shocked at all. I'm going to keep it short. It's before kickoff. Kickoff's at 2:30. You know, win or lose, I'm going to call back, voice my opinion on how the game is. But history shows, if you doubt the Trojans, we typically show out. You know, they say App State's giant killers. We have a deeper history of doing that more. So, you know, 2:30 kickoff. See you guys then. But, hey, forever and always, one Troy. Let's ride.
All right, let's get to the post game.
Man of my word, this is Zachary Brenner, Troy Trojans. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm sick to my stomach right now. That is oh my, I can't, it's hard to put into words what we just saw in the App State Troy game. But I will say this. The amount of disrespect that Troy has faced this entire week, it will not be forgotten. You know, those boys played with everything they had, everything. Gave App State everything they wanted and then some. You know, big time players make big time plays. You know, that ball should have been batted down. App State player caught it, made a play. You know, that's why college football is the greatest thing in this world. But don't you ever disrespect Troy. Y'all didn't, but the college football world did. You know, I love my Troy Trojans. This one hurts. You know, great football teams find ways to win. They won. You know, but damn, I promise you, we'll be back. It won't be the last time this happens. You know, what I mean happens is we won't be the last time we face them again. It's always and forever one Troy. But damn it, the college football world just got put on notice. Troy, don't you ever disrespect Troy. Don't you ever call us out.
Appreciate it, Zachary. Raw emotion right there, boys.
First off, two things. I will admit, and this is going to piss some people off in Boone, I felt my emotions were that I felt worse for Troy than I was excited for App State after that game. I felt so bad for them because they played so well. They played so well. And it's just like the football gods right now are like, give me an A. Like they love App State. They love App State, and you know they find a way to win. But here's my second point. I'm willing to bet those two are going to be in the championship game. That's just they're going to have some kind of build up where Troy's going to remember that, and they're going to build on that all season. Like look out, Louisiana. Well unless you're Rice. Louisiana is got to look out for Troy now because Troy is going to be hungry like a bear.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough way to go after you fight your butt off and play, about as good as you can play. And shout out Troy's offense, man.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the things we said. We know their defense can hang. Can their offense rise to the occasion? And they sure did, man.
I'm right there with you, Jesse, man. Like, watch out for this Troy team. Like, you can see it. They are getting better and better as each week goes on. I mean, the offense, I think the question of can they score enough points to keep up with these teams, I think the answer to that question is yes. Yes, they can. Yeah. But let's give some props to Christian Horn, though, the receiver for App State, I don't want to say like being at the right place at the right time, but like he did what you're supposed to do in that situation of that Hail Mary. Like he went, because what do we talk about with App State? Always being focused and practicing every single scenario and situation. You would think maybe teams that don't practice that a lot because they might not be in those situations a lot. You're going to have 3 or 4 wide receivers all jumping up at the same time to the football. But Christian Horn, he didn't jump up. He purposely stayed behind, anticipating the possibility of the ball being batted back. And he was perfect spot right there, caught it, and was in stride into the end zone. So I got to give him some credit for running that so well.
Call me crazy, but I would not be shocked if that was designed that way. Like, not necessarily.
Well, did you guys see the video of Clark talking about that play?
No.
He said he goes, watch our practice. He said, watch when we run that. He goes, I'd be lying if I didn't say that that's the way we planned that play. And where you have the guy in the front and you have Horn coming around and you have the jump man. He goes, it went exactly like we practiced. And they show him talking and they show like the video of it, and it's nuts. And it just shows, man, that attention to detail, that situational, like just drilling it over and over and over again, like to for that to happen and to execute it. I mean, man, it's unreal. It sucks for Troy because they played their ass off, and it's just nuts, man. College football is the best thing ever.
Clark's either one hell of a coach or he's got some cojones to say that's how they practiced it. That's how we drew it up.
I mean, that's what he said. He's like, I don't want to be this guy, but like that's exactly, it's picture perfect how we practice it.
Well, credit to them then for executing. And you know, not to rub it in for Troy anymore. Did y'all see the video of the it was the Troy sorority having a watch party, and they're like going nuts, and like only one girl realizes that like they caught the Hail Mary.
The ball's still in play.
They're like looking around like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, Zach, don't you worry. I think Troy might be going back to Boone in December.
Summerall's got that program going in the right direction. That's for sure.
No question. And they did all that without Carlton Marshall too. Remember?
Yeah,
so,
that's wild.
He's a linebacker, so who knows? But I mean, that's the nation's leading tackler. So
appreciate it, Zach. All right, let's get to the next one. We got Andrew from App State. New caller.
Oh, guys, I've started watching you recently. You know, this season I've been looking for good Group of 5 fan pages. My name's Andrew. This is right after the App State win. Big App State fan. I can't with this team. Every week it's another heart attack I have to live through. I feel like I've taken 10 years off my life each game. North Carolina was crazy. Texas A&M was crazy. And now the Hail Mary at the end of it. I mean, is App State the most exciting team in college football or what? You can't explain it. I mean, you can't explain any of it. Who doesn't want to watch App State play every single weekend on this? Why was that game on ESPN Plus? I mean, College Game Day was there. I am just, I no words. That's all.
Appreciate it, Andrew. I'm with you there. Why the hell that was on ESPN Plus?
It's karma. They put on ESPN Plus. The best game for the weekend is on ESPN Plus. I mean, that's 3 weekends in a row. They give you one of the best games of the week.
You know, I would love to see the statistic on an increase in applicants to go to school at Appalachian State University after these last couple of weeks that are going to go to school to get a theater degree or a business degree. I don't know what they have there. Seems like maybe kind of an artsy place, but I'd love to see it. And I guarantee you it's increasing because they're getting so much positive publicity simply because of football, because their president and their AD and their football coach are all aligned in making that A and App State the flagship brand of that school. And look at what it's doing for them, man. I mean, I hate it for the other Group of 5 schools because there are other ones that deserve the same pub that App's getting, but you can't help but be happy for them.
Yep, I agree. Appreciate it, Andrew. Keep them coming. Now we got possibly one of the biggest App State fans, at least that we know.
Yes.
Our boy Stu's Right from Twitter.
Yes. See you on the field again.
Stu's Right from Twitter here. Just walked in the door, and I wish I was as excited as I was last week. Kind of am. The way that ball game ended, can't believe the Mountaineers pulled it off. I didn't think we had it in us there late. Huge shout out to Troy. Their offense played way better than I expected them to. The quarterback's the real deal. That's a good football team. So proud of the Mountaineers and how they hung in there. So proud of the fans, the students, how everybody hung in there and stayed the ball game and never gave up. Just a tremendous, tremendous effort. What a crowd. I've never seen a Hail Mary like that work. And to win a ball game with triple zeros like that is just incredible. Anyways, I wish I've been able to watch some more football. USF's hanging in there and UTSA's hanging in there as well. Huge shout out to Troy. Tremendous football team. even bigger shout out to Appalachian. Can't believe we pulled that off. Unbelievable. Grabbing the headlines for the third week in a row. Anyways, just checking in. Talk to you later. Go Apps.
Appreciate it, Stu.
Stu's great. That poor guy's going through it though too with his damn emotions, man.
You can just tell he's exhausted.
He's tired. He's tired. He's going to bed.
Like last week, he's like, "I'm on the field. Go out." This week, just walked in the door.
Well, you know how it is,
Put
guy.
out his
Like
hard hat, his coffee mug. He's like,
we ain't no spring chickens anymore. You kick it tough like that weekend after weekend. He starts to catch up with you, man.
and guess what? He's got another home game next weekend.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Tough James Madison team.
God bless.
But hey, yeah, shout out to all the App State fans that stayed like the whole game. I mean, it like
True.
looking at the replay and stuff. There was a lot of people still there.
Yeah, they rushed the field.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that was awesome to see.
A lot of people surprisingly leaving though on both App State home games, which is disappointing. Don't leave early, man.
Stay the whole way.
Who quarterback for Troy this game? Was it the guy that came from Western Kentucky? No, wasn't him.
No, Doge or whatever. No, it was Watson.
Okay.
Seems to be the guy. All right.
Yep.
Now we got our boy Terry Johnson.
Ooh.
Hey, Group of Five guys. Terry Johnson calling you after a emotional evening of my Cajuns losing to a grain of rice. Shout out to Rice. They had Christian McCaffrey's brother out there, and he might as well have been Christian McCaffrey, and because he was just catching all over our asses. I feel like I'd be a poor sport if I called y'all after a win and I didn't call you after a loss, and just acknowledge that, man, like the Sun Belt East is great, but man, the West is, it's pretty good too. South Alabama almost squeaked one out against UCLA. Troy, heartbreaker to App. Shout out to App for that amazing, game day they put on. Man, they just keep winning. I don't like App all that much, but I respect them, man. They're awesome fans and they're a great team. But yeah, man, I just got to eat my words. We didn't look too good out there. Hopefully they'll get it together. Kind of just calling for like a therapy session, and Swag Bear, hey. Hey, man, you seems like you got the last laugh this week, but hey, there's always next week. I'm just wondering what you guys thinking. Like, do you think that the West is, the Sun Belt with Troy and South Alabama, you think that they are, can compete with those, teams like Marshall and, Georgia Southern, or do you think that the East is just so far ahead? And like my Cajuns got to get a lot of stuff together. We got to figure a lot of stuff out. But I just wanted you to know your opinion. Again, go Cajuns. Y'all do an awesome job representing the Group of Five. Sunbelt's the best conference in G5. Yeah, have a blessed day. Go Cajuns.
Appreciate it, Terry. We're here for all your therapy session needs.
Yeah.
You know those shows where you have a guy doing a voicemail, it's like a cartoon, and the guy's like talking. I see a guy sitting there in his room. There's like holes all over his wall. He's been punching during the game. He's just smoking a cigarette, calling the Group of Five guys. That was tough, man. That was a hard loss. And I don't hate Louisiana. Everyone's like, that's why I got the last laugh. I root for Louisiana. I want Louisiana to be good. I just want their.
I'll tell you what it was. Last year. You said your ass hopped on the bandwagon last week.
Oh, my God. You need to hop back off.
Hop back off that bad boy.
Yeah. They're only good for tailgating. That's it. for Louisiana.
Well, I'll say this to answer the question about the West. I mean, you just saw Troy, play App like that. And Troy plays Marshall this week. So, I mean, I think, we all thought Louisiana, Troy, and then everybody but I think Jesse thought Texas State, which – who knows? I mean, they're not on the level of Louisiana or Troy yet. But yeah, South Alabama looks pretty good.
You go from Mobile, Alabama, all the way out to California, and you pretty much. I hate doing moral victories, but you could have won that game. South Alabama's a damn good football team. Yep. They're damn good.
They are good. We'll get to some of these special teams debacles that have been happening to the Group of Five, and South Alabama was one of them. And I don't put it on players. I don't know what happened in that one, but we'll get to that. Hey, that Christian Horncatch put me over on my prize picks. Got another winner this weekend.
Oh, boy.
I've been going on.
Nice,
I've been having success on the receptions going over, and I literally take like the same 4 or 5 receivers every single week. It's been working. But if you haven't heard, we have partnered with Prize Picks. If you download the app, put in our code GOFG on your first time deposit, they'll match your deposit up to $100. So you put $25, they'll give you $25. $50, they'll give you $50. 100, they give you 100. It's a lot of fun. It does make watching these games just a little bit more interesting. So jump on that Prize Picks app. Use our code GOFG. Week 3, we talked about it a little bit. There's some headlines. So we had 2 Power 5 wins this weekend. It was the 2 green teams that old Swag Bear loves so much. So if you guys are ready for him to think he knows all,
give me 3 minutes.
Happens. You're getting 3 minutes. Good Lord.
Eastern Michigan, who gave me so much grief for losing to Louisiana, and Louisiana is jumping all over my DMs and leaving me voicemails. They responded. They go to Arizona State, and I'm pretty sure Arizona State they get rid of their coach after
fired Herm Edwards
on the field as he was walking off the field.
Yep.
Well, when you give up 458 total yards on your defense, then it may happen.
How'd that quarterback do, Grish?
I'll get to it. So Samson Evans is the ball player, 258 yards on the ground against Arizona State. They didn't need Taylor Powell. That's a good thing. Taylor Powell didn't really show up. Taylor Powell, he didn't have the best game. He actually got replaced by Austin Smith. But I think it's because Taylor Powell has a little bit of a shoulder issue. They threw a couple interceptions, but Austin Smith's more of a running quarterback. Put it to Arizona State, man. Put it to him.
Well, hold on now. So are you counting that as a Taylor Powell win?
He started that game. That's a win.
No,
he started out there.
He
went 10 for 14,
so.
10 completions. Well, we'll discuss it after the season.
Yeah, my shoulder always hurts after I throw 2 picks too. It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah. My hands always swell up and I hold. Then another green team that I will take credit for this. I said it in our American preview. They are going to shock the college football world. They have a chance at being the dark horse for the American champion. Tulane over Kansas State. Tulane's first Power 5 road win since Rutgers in 2010. So mark that down. Yeah, man, I really like Michael Pratt. He didn't have the best game, but their defense was able to come up and stick it to Kansas State. Tulane, they held Deuce Vaughn at 81 yards for Kansas and on 20 carries. That's the first time in 9 games that guy hasn't hit 100 yards. So Tulane's defense, look out in the American Conference. They're apparently the real deal. And so they have Southern Miss this week. And you never know, Group of 5, Southern Miss may come out there and beat them by 28 points. But if they win that game, they go to Houston undefeated. Look out.
Yeah, shout out to Courtney Gaucher, too, the AD.
Yeah.
That's right.
Courtney.
That's what happened. Courtney got there, started fixing things.
He knows what he's doing.
He does. Yeah, and then here's maybe the most shocking stat of the week. Conference USA goes 3-0 against the Sun Belt in week 3. You get Charlotte in a huge win for them over Georgia State. You got UAB over Georgia Southern, and then you got Rice over the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. But your boy Chris Reynolds was back, Murph.
Dude, Chris Reynolds. I was saying it the other, week 1 after he got hurt. Stay in the game, Chris Reynolds, because you make that offense go. You got all the experience in the world. You play point guard, damn near better than anybody else. You get the ball to those athletes. Check this stat line: 401 yards, 5 touchdown passes. That's a hell of a ball game to come back and beat a very good.
When they scored on the last,
that shows how much I know. So he's been out this whole time.
Yeah,
he got hurt in that.
I knew he got hurt week 1, but I thought he came back. I thought he was just playing injured, so he wasn't even playing those.
No, he didn't play.
He didn't play against Maryland and didn't play against. Did they lose to? They lost
William and Mary.
So he wasn't playing those games.
Oh,
well, how about that? Didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know what's more surprising, Charlotte or Georgia State or Rice or Louisiana, because I guess with Chris Reynolds back, Charlotte, they compete a lot more now, like you just said, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean Rice over Louisiana.
I didn't see that.
Did Louisiana? If you just search like Louisiana football on Twitter, I don't know if it's maybe just a select few fans, but they got some. I'm telling you, they got some stuff going on there. People are not happy. I don't know if You got some people that are saying they rushed too fast to hire the new coach. You got other people defending the coach. I mean, you got the usual college football fan debating going on. But again, guys, look, you lost your first game in 16 tries, so relax. But you haven't looked good even in your wins this year, so we'll see.
They
see
were
what the
also
Cajuns
playing
do.
against McCaffrey. They played against Luke McCaffrey. You know, he had.
I forgot that he went to Rice.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, he had 10 catches, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Well,
I can see it from a Louisiana fan perspective. I can. How would you feel if you were on top of the world last year, probably the past 2 or 3 years with Billy Napier? Billy. Love Billy. And then every time you turn on CBS or ESPN, you see Billy in that Michael Jordan blue and orange, and everybody's talking and hyping him up. They're jealous. And not to mention, Billy took how many players and coaches from them. I mean, the new coach is just getting, the ripped of it, but they're just jealous. They're mad. They want to have Louisiana from last year. And they're like, technically, Terry, they're in a rebuild mode, I feel like. They're rebuilding right
Terry.
now. No, Terry, back up, Terry. Like, Terry, just back up a little bit. It's going to be okay. Go get some drywall, fix your house, and move on to next week.
Yeah, well, that was a shocker. I mean, that was you had a player swing on a Rice player too. There was some controversy about what he might have said to him. So we'll see what kind of investigations that brings. But I don't think that had anything to do with the outcome of the game. So. Another shocker in the MAC, Bowling Green. They said letdown. Big emotional win for Marshall over Notre Dame. And then Bowling Green. Then they go to Bowling Green. Bowling Green beats them in overtime. Are you looking at it as if you're like that's Bowling Green?
I said it in the MAC preview. I said Bowling Green's going to be a team to look out for. I know Group of 5 football. I said Bowling Green is going to be a team.
They ain't been a team to look out for in any of their other games.
Past them Thundering Herd. Tell you what.
What's the difference between the noise a bear makes and the noise of the thundering a bear?
Thundering herd's kind of like a horse and a bear mixed. That's kind of what that is. Anyway, then UNLV beats North Texas. That's a team that I was definitely wrong on. I thought North Texas was going to be amazing.
Yeah, I thought North Texas was going to be good too, but then we also kind of thought UNLV. No, they lost to Cal right last week.
Yeah, they lost to Cal. But it was a close game.
But close, yeah. UNLV's turn it around.
That offense is rolling, man.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to them, dude. Talk about a fun place. If you get that thing rolling and you're a recruit, especially with Bishop Gorman.
Let's go back 10 years ago, and then if I'm a 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 star, and UNLV says, "Hey, you just want to come to Vegas?"
Say your ass
when you get to be 21. I said if I was only 4. I was 4.5. Whenever. I mean, how do you not get good players to come to UNLV? You got to.
Yeah.
You have to have some ballers over there.
Yeah, they're going to start.
I guess they're getting it figured out.
Yeah, that was a shocker. Wyoming over Air Force, man. Damn it, Air Force. You get 3rd and 13, and they run the ball and get 17 yards to put the game on ice. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's what happened to Air Force. Is like, it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a microcosm of Group of 5 football. You come off a big Power 5 win. Everybody's all excited. And then you come back the next week and you just lay an egg. You can't do that.
No,
you're
can't.
Not going to keep fans that way. You cannot do that. Same thing with Marshall.
Yeah. In Air Force's case, you get it again. You get in a conference, man. These games are going to be tight. And I know Wyoming didn't look good week 1, but they looked better week 2. And it's at Wyoming. All they're hearing is Air Force this, Air Force that. And they come in there, man, and they punch them right in the mouth, kind of their own game. I think Wyoming was better than what people thought, and Air Force just weren't ready for them.
It's like how many games have we been a part of where the first half or even further, like the offense just can't get it going, but the defense is hanging in there, and then finally late the offense gets it going, and then the defense gives up a score right away. So frustrating, man. But
I think Air Force will be all right.
They'll be fine.
I think they're still going to be fine in the Mountain West. They're still going to be at the top of the conference.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then the main headline in the American, Cincinnati, they're showing what they got over Miami of Ohio. Gabbert didn't play, but Cincinnati's keeping it rolling.
So don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure. I think Gabbert is
He's out.
He's not playing the rest of the year.
Yep, out for the year.
Yeah.
Yep. That sucks, man.
Sucks big time.
How old is he? Is he a senior? Do we know?
Give me a second. I'll look it up.
I'm about to find out.
That's tough, man, because they were one of the top teams we were talking about in the MAC. He's a junior.
Well, so I don't even know what the injury is. I didn't even know he was hurt. But I just hope that doesn't mess with his NFL career. So hopefully he can heal up and maybe come back and put it all together next year. But tell you, Ben Bryant looks pretty good.
I tell you, it doesn't look good. My fantasy football team is atrocious right now. I am going to lose to Jeff Murphy, and I'm going to have to shotgun a beer tomorrow morning because I'm not even going to break 100 points probably. I got to take a shot too. God.
Great way to start.
Sorry, I know it's random. But
in case you guys are wondering, in our fantasy football league, the lowest scoring team has to shotgun a beer before work on Tuesday morning. If you don't score 100 points, you got to shotgun a beer and do a shot.
Can you imagine what I can't do beer in the mornings. This is going to be horrid.
Did you work from home? You roll out of bed at like 9:30
tomorrow.
Well,
either way. Hey, my team does not look good.
So anyway, back to Group of 5 football. In the Sun Belt, Coastal beat Buffalo. That game was close for a long time. Buffalo had the lead for a long time, and Coastal keeps playing with fire too now. So they better get it together, or they're gonna slip up. And then, of course, we already talked about App State and Troy. What a game. It's too bad freaking game day because that game was a hell of a lot better, more exciting than Texas A&M versus Miami at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
They didn't even score. A bunch of field goals. I mean, geez. So, Herb Street, you missed that one, bud. But then you had, guys, listen to all these close losses here. We should have had five or six, Power 5 wins. South Alabama loses to UCLA. UCLA makes a field goal to win it. And South Alabama, I don't know if you guys saw it. They lined up like they were going to kick a field goal. And then the holder stood up. They took some weird direct snap and then ran out of time.
But was that near the end of the game?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that was the last play of the game?
It wasn't the last play of the game. I think it was before they were winning when they did that.
I saw the play. It was very, very weird.
Was really stupid. And then whatever happened that gave UCLA the ball back, and that's when UCLA drove down and scored. Western Kentucky loses in overtime to Indiana, missed a 44-yard field goal.
That ain't why they lost. They deserve to lose that game. West Kentucky, hear me out now. You deserve to lose that game. They played piss poor in the second half. Indiana's not good. Indiana is horrid. I watched that whole game. Indiana's bad. West Kentucky was better. Western Kentucky ended up playing not to lose instead of to win. They deserve to lose. Sorry. Sue me. That game was hard to watch.
Yep. And then you have Old Dominion could have had their second Power 5 win of the year. Virginia made a game-winning field goal. My South Florida Bulls, man, they could have put a big notch on my belt if they would have won that game. And they were winning for a little bit of it. They lose to Florida. Not the kicker's fault on this missed field goal. Bad snap and bad hold, which is why I've got my Ray Finkel jersey on today. Laces out, Dan. Cost the Dolphins a Super Bowl. Soccer style kicker out of Collier County. But bad snap, bad hold. So you're seeing the Group of 5 teams are screwing up on special teams in these close games, and the Power 5 teams are executing. Yeah. And that's what's happening. And you got SMU lost to Maryland by a touchdown. They should have won that game. Temple lost to Rutgers. I don't even know what the line was on that, if that was how it was supposed to happen. And then Houston and Fresno State both lose their second game back-to-back. I know they were both, Power 5 opponents and whatnot. But
yeah, and I'll say, and not too much in Fresno State's defense, but Jay Kaner goes down, high ankle sprain. It looked nasty. I thought it was something a lot worse. They're calling it a high ankle sprain. Expect him to be back at some point this season. But I mean, that's a huge blow. I mean, you lose your top guy. I mean, it's just now it's going to be a shootout anyways. So hope Hainer can get back out there.
Yeah, that's brutal. But those are, I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, that's 8
you go
losses by one score.
If you can go half of those, man, that's. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's so frustrating to watch. And I mean, again, I mean, we talk about, you say what you want about college kickers, but some of them, the ones that are winning the games, their kickers are executing, their holders are executing, their snappers are getting good snaps. So it's not like it's just all kickers, whatever. It's just, and you can't fault these guys when it's if it's more than 45 yards, okay, I guess I'll give it to them. But some of these ones where you're not even getting the snap off, or you're just like,
If you're 30 and in my opinion, you got to nail it. You know, I mean, that's all you do every single day at practice. Snap, hold, and kick. Make the freaking kick, man. Like, you got teams battling out here, and it comes down to you, the kicker, the snapper, and the holder. Get it done, man.
Now, I will say this in their defense, I guess. I would hate to be a part of the field goal team because you don't get a whole lot of opportunities. And you take extra points and whatnot for granted. So, you might go 4 for 4 from extra point, smooth as butter, and then here's your shot, game's on the line, and everybody's looking at you. Now, if you're a guard or a tackle and, you play 50, 60 snaps, not everybody's looking at the one block you missed. So,
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about it. If the lineman misses a block, that's something different. But when you get good, they hold their water up front, and you got a snap, hold, and a kick, and you just shank it. Get it done. Get it done, kickers. Same thing with punters.
Same thing. I said this whenever East Carolina lost, like shame on that kicker for losing the game. But these are too many games. I cannot just consciously say, hey, this is all on special teams. What I think the big difference is when Group of Five plays Power Five, it's the dumb penalties, man. It's the personal fouls, hitting the quarterback late out of bounds, the stupid pass interference calls, the taunting. It's that stuff is usually what happens. That happened in West Kentucky and Indiana. It's just stupid personal fouls. The personal fouls, not even flags. Holding, at least you're trying to block. False start, you're trying to get a head start. But when you're just purposely out here just getting personal foul PFs,
yeah, it's bad. It's bad. There's some plays that some of these guys are making that I don't know if I would be able to be a coach when stuff like that happens. I would be ready to just expel these players from school.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff. This wasn't an NFL game when the guy dropped the ball before the end zone again. Like just has a free run to the end zone. They just start celebrating at like the 3-yard line and throw the ball in the like. I can't even fathom how stupid you got to be to do that. And it happens damn near every week.
And what's funny?
I don't get it.
It's normally like a receiver or a DB that always does it.
DBs are the worst. Look, I don't know if we got any DBs watching here. They are the worst for celebrating for no reason, taunting for no reason, cheap shotting for no reason.
They call him DB for a reason. Douchebag.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's actually a pretty funny TikTok out there where we kind of make fun of that.
It is.
Check it out.
If you follow us on TikTok at Group of Five
Guys. I still watch that video all the time. I'm just like, no, sir. No, sir. Not in my house. Not today.
Balls overthrown.
20 yards overthrown.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's enough on that. Hey, before we check out our Middle Tennessee review, speaking of Middle Tennessee, Birch Tax Service right there in Middle Tennessee, Murfreesboro, right there above Domenico's Italian Deli. If you are in Nashville, Murfreesboro, Franklin area, hit him up. He does a really good job with any of our stuff. So I'm sure he would be happy to help, especially during tax season. But a couple of us were in Murfreesboro this weekend. Not like a huge game. They were playing Tennessee State. It's, I guess you could call it an in-state rival. But, I mean, they smoked them. And I got to tell you guys, I cannot remember a crowd like that at Middle. I mean, since we were in school there. I really can't. I mean, maybe like you look at when one of the Vanderbilt games or maybe the Duke game from a few years back. But other than that, dude, I was so pleasantly surprised with that.
Did they stay the whole game?
Well, the game, sort of got out of hand when it was 49-0 at one point.
Yeah.
And they started exiting out, but the tailgate was good, man. I thought the tailgate in the Grove was good, and even the tailgaters in the Greenland lot, it was packed up. But let me just say this: And we were going back and forth with some folks on Twitter that are supposed MTSU fans and talking about how they want to boycott the program because of the AD, because of stock, because of all this stuff. But in my opinion, 22,000 people doesn't seem like every single MTSU fan wants stock out of there. That's just not what that says to me. And guys, you want to support your team, go to the game. Like, you can be mad at the coach, you can be mad at the AD, but when you make stupid decisions and statements like, I'm going to boycott the program because they're not listening to me, or because they keep extending the coach, or whatever your stupid excuse is, what you're doing is hurting the players. Because when the players walk out of that stadium, run out of that tunnel, and there's 2,000 people there, why in the world would they want to come back the next year to that stadium? Now we flip this on its head. 22,000 out of a 36,000 seat stadium show up, and it's live. It gives energy to the players. All right, that's what we got to do. And we're all passionate about Middle because we went there. But my God, man, if you want to cry and do all this other stuff, just stay home and don't be a part of the process, because there's a ton of fans and people that want to support the players and want to support the team. And that's what it's about. That's what the Group of Five guys is about, is supporting your team and the Group of Five as a whole. And let me tell you, I got a clip here from the post-game show that me and Chip did with Frank Pizant, who had one hell of a game run the ball. But this is what it means to this kid. Let's just listen to it real quick. It's about a minute.
You talk a little bit about the atmosphere in the stadium tonight, and also during Raider Walk. 22,000 plus in here tonight, and they were out having a good time tailgating. Took them a little while to get in here, but the place was juiced tonight.
Yes, sir. This is actually my first time seeing it like this. I came in 2020, was COVID year. Wasn't too many fans coming out. 2021 was kind of the same. But I told myself that we wanted to change it, and it looked like that's what happened. So you just got to keep the ball rolling.
You'll be back home in 2 weeks. You have here's your chance to tell the fans what a difference they made tonight and what a difference they can make when UTSA comes in.
A huge difference. The crowd really gets the team going, like the extra screams and just being loud. Sometimes it'll mess up the offense, the opposing team, just by them being loud because they can't hear the snap count. So with them being out there, I appreciate them coming out on their Saturday.
I mean, you heard it right there from the horse's mouth, man. Go to the games, show up, and support these guys. They deserve it. They worked their ass off all year. And I know it was TSU, and everybody's going to say, oh, TSU, they're, on AA, whatever, and in the OVC. They handled that team exactly how they were supposed to. And after that week one beatdown by James Madison, they had every reason to close up shop and just mark it off. And they didn't. And when you show up like that against TSU, regardless of what happens this next week at Miami, conference starts against San Antonio. And you better be there and the same energy and same force, because you're going to need every bit of it against San Antonio when that offense, Frank Harris and Zachary Franklin, come in. Because that's going to be a huge game for the rest of that season. That's all I got, man. Show up to the games. That's all you got to do. It's pretty simple, really.
Well, I mean, and to go back to your point on the people that are boycotting the program or whatever they want to say, like, you're just compounding the problem that you think the university has. Like, again, not to keep talking about App State, but you're going to tell me that App State right now is not absolutely loving the fact that recruits are seeing this on TV every week, or when they come to the game, they're seeing this. So now, like, if you're Middle, and I know they had a bunch of recruits there because I saw them. I mean, I was thinking, I literally walked in there and I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is like, I can't tell you the last time I've seen both end zones full and students sitting in the upper level.
Yeah.
I literally can't remember that time. And it was great to see as we were walking in before kickoff to just see the line to get in was around the stadium. I'm like, what in the hell, man? And there were still some of the Greeks were still out there tailgating. And I don't know if they ever made it in. Maybe they did later. Maybe that's what Chip was talking about. But there's still opportunity to be more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get penalties. You help your defense out. There's all kind. I mean, everything. It was great to see, and it's great to see. I think we're seeing it all over the country, really, in the Group of Five. I think we really are starting to see some fans back their schools. But that's enough on that. I know you said Peasant, or we saw Peasant had a great game, but talk about top performers from week 3. Players, coaches, fans. I'll start with you, Jesse. Who you got?
I'm going to stick with my Eastern Michigan man, Samson Evans. What he did to Arizona State, 258 yards on the ground, about a little over 7 yards per average per rush. So Samson Evans, he gets the Swag Bear Player of the Week award.
Swag Bear Player of the Week is a little more prestigious than any of our players of the week. Not quite as prestigious as the Atrocious Award, but
Jeff, every time I do that, you got to have me skunk. I can record it.
All right, I'll get another clip for you.
Tip, who you got?
I got quite a bit of them. Murph, you go ahead and go first, just in case I take any of your guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go after Murph then because he took mine last week.
Yeah,
it's all good. I mean, the two that I had, I already gave one of them was Chris Reynolds, man. To show up back like that, 401 yards, 5 touchdowns, that's a hell of a performance and a big win. And then I'm going to stay at home, man. Frank Peasant, 13 rushes, 122 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. And that ground game is going. It helps the pass game, and that offense so far in the last 2 games, I will say this, has looked on point.
I was going to go Chris Reynolds on there, but I want to go to UNLV. I want to go to Aiden Robbins. Dude, UNLV scored 58 points on North Texas. I mean, they're sitting there 2-1. Running back Aiden Robbins, 29 carries, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Did you say how many carries? 29?
29 carries, dude. I told you, anytime these guys
that's
are getting
old
up
school,
to 30,
dude.
it's workhorse, man. I love it. So that's who I'm going with. Aiden Robbins, UNLV. Tip, who you got?
Speaking of a lot of carries, Dwayne McBride, running back out of UAB, had 28 of those carries. He had 223 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns against Georgia Southern. We talked about that last week. We said if UAB could get the run game going, that we felt comfortable about them winning that game. And the running game was going for sure in that game, and that's what got them the win. Memphis quarterback Seth Hennigan, 360 passing yards and 3 touchdowns against Arkansas State. And Swag Bear's favorite baseball player, John Rhys Plumlee, quarterback out of UCF, had 339 passing yards, 121 rushing yards, and 3 total touchdowns against FAU.
Yeah, they smacked FAU too.
Yeah.
UCF's got Georgia Tech this week. Should be interesting. Yeah, I like it. I mean, a lot of good performances from players, from coaches, from teams, from fans this week. Truly love to see it. Before we get into the Week 4 preview, we talked about it earlier. You guys make sure you go to group5guys.com, pick up a hoodie, T-shirt, some of our gear. It'll help us. We get a small cut of that, and that'll help us to get to more games, get some more equipment, get better content out there for you. So you got this. I think this is the last week. We got a bunch of Power 5 and some non-conference games. You guys are looking at the list here. How many do you think we're getting this week? Who do you think's got the best shot to get the, quote, upset? Jess, I'll start with you.
Oh, boy. Easily Cincinnati, Indiana. Indiana is a horrid and atrocious, god-awful dumpster fire. I really think that team should not have beaten West Kentucky. So Cincinnati, I think they're going to just demolish them. I don't even know what the spread is. Take it.
16.5.
I think Cincinnati's going to crush them. So Cincinnati over Indiana. Another one I really like. To be completely honest with you, that might be the only one I really like. I would take Miami, Ohio at Northwestern, but it's hard to say without your star quarterback. But another good game. Heck, UCF, they couldn't get it done against Louisville. USF might be due, man. They got blown out by BYU, but what they did against Florida, it shows those guys aren't going to quit on you. So, Louisville, they keep just, they lost to Florida State. But, they've lost Florida State. But I think Louisville, they're kind of if you can stop that quarterback, I can't remember his name, basically
Malik Cunningham.
I know, but who's the Ravens quarterback right now? Sorry.
Lamar Jackson.
He's like Lamar Jackson's like little twin. Like they look exactly alike. So if you stop him, I think USF.
Yeah, I want to go in a little more depth about that. Yeah, if USF's defense can stop Malik Cunningham running, then they have a really good chance to win that game. Malik Cunningham is not the most efficient and effective passer, but he runs extremely well, and he is really athletic. In 3 games this season, Cunningham has thrown for 199 passing yards per game with only 1 throwing touchdown and 3 interceptions. But on the ground, he's rushed for 94 yards a game with 3 rushing touchdowns. So I don't know, if I'm UCF on defense, I'm putting my best athlete out there to shadow him. I don't care if it's your best defensive athlete, special teams athlete, offensive athlete. If he can go out there and tackle, just get a guy out there that shadows him so that he can reduce his rushing attempts and force him to throw the football. USF's defense, they give up a lot of rushing yards. They've given up 232 per game, but Louisville gives up a lot of rushing yards as well. They've given up 202 rushing yards per game. I think USF's running back, Brian Beatty, he should have a good game. And also South Florida's quarterback, Gary Bohannon. He also runs well. I think he'll have a good game rushing this game. The line right now is Louisville. They're favored by 13.5. I mean, I'm definitely taking the plus 13.5 USF. And I mean, I think if they can stop Malik Cunningham from running, they have a legit shot at beating Louisville.
Yeah, South Florida, I was so high on them preseason. They've been getting better since last year. They just had a brutal schedule to start the season. I mean, BYU and Florida, and I mean, BYU blew them out, but BYU looks pretty good, although they lost this week. But they hang tight with Florida. I think they're due. I think they can. I'd love to see them get over the hump. I think the American. I mean, I'm all in on the American Conference this week. This is the first time I think that they might flex a little bit of their, they like to claim Power 6 or whatever it is, but I like SMU versus TCU. That's only a 1-point spread on that. Cincinnati and UCF are both like huge favorites. I think UCF's a 20-point favorite versus Georgia Tech. So I like both of those. I'm with you on South Florida though. Jeff, I hope I didn't steal everything. You got any of these other ones you're looking at?
Oh boy, do I. No, I mean, I think
Middle Tennessee, Hard Rock Stadium.
I'll get there because you know what? We'll just do it live. MTSU goes into Hard Rock Stadium this weekend. Let me tell you, Miami's going to have a little bit of a hangover from getting their butts beat by Texas A&M, and the Raiders are hot right now. All right, if they can protect Cunningham, that guy is going through his reads, making good decisions. His completion rating the last 2 games has been above 80%. It's insane. Wow. It's insane. Yusuf Ali's electric on the outside. Jalen Lane's electric on the outside. And Isaiah Gathings is a big 6'3" guy in the slot that's been doing damage. And if they can get any type of run production again from Frank Pizon, I don't expect 122 yards, 3 touchdowns. But if they can get decent production out of him, that D line for Middle Tennessee is the focal point of that defense. They have been getting nonstop pressure the last 2 games. I don't know if they can do that against Miami and those big boys, but look out for them. I'll be there.
Well, I mean, if I may, Southern Miss D-line had their way with Miami's offensive line.
That's what I'm saying.
In the first half, so.
Should be one to watch. And Friday night, if you're in Miami, hit your boy up.
Oh, he's got a good time.
Hit your boy up. I am supposed to be going to the Miami Marlins game Friday night, but after that, nothing to do.
More people at the Marlins game or the Hurricanes game? What do you think? It gonna be.
I don't know. That's your stomping grounds. You tell me.
Yeah, there ain't gonna be nobody at either.
Is the Miami Hurricanes kind of like the fan base since they lost? Now they're jumping off the bandwagon. They're not gonna show up to the game.
Yeah, dude. Everybody and look,
she's got shot.
There's gonna be. I mean, that stadium's like 68,000. It's 45 minutes away from campus. Super nice though. It's like, I mean, it is like comfortable.
Heard they got good tailgating though at those games, bros.
The thing about the city of Miami, Jeff, is they don't tailgate. It's not like what you're not going to see is like cornhole and beer pong. Now, there may be, a gentleman's club on wheels in the parking lot, a bus with a pole on top. You never know what you might see. Just be careful. Some idiot might leave their grill on during the game and set a bunch of cars on fire.
Did that happen?
Happened at the Dolphins game. Yeah, last weekend.
Jesus.
That's fantastic.
The whole parking lot on fire.
That's so
Sprouse, let me throw in one more here because check the tape. Every time we've done this, I've been the last one because I always forget one. That game always ends up either upsetting or covering. with the upsetted team. Let's look at Charlotte at South Carolina because of 1, 2, maybe 3 reasons. Jeff talked about Charlotte earlier, and it kind of sparked my interest here. Chris Reynolds, he is back. He's back. What if he would have never got hurt against FAU and they would have pulled up off that win? Let's just say they do. Grant Dubose, who him and Chris, they have a great connection. They go and then they also beat William and Mary. They compete against Maryland. We're looking at this game right now and be like, well, why not? After they beat Georgia State, why not? Who does South Carolina have? Spencer freaking Rattler? Did you see the guy?
True. He ain't good.
He's not that good. He's not that good. The guy's rattled. They call him Rattle and Rattler. He's rattled. And South Carolina does not look that great. Charlotte, you can literally turn your season around right here. And I guarantee you Will Healy is preaching that. Why not? Why not go out there and shock the world? Let's flip this thing on its side. So I think that's a game to look out for because I bet they are fired up. They're coming off a win. They got their quarterback back. Their offense is clicking. If they can get some stops on defense over the Rattler, then why not? I like it. I'm going to watch that game. Charlotte at South Carolina.
I like it. Starting to get some conference games coming in. First one on the list, Thursday night. Swag Bear and I will be there at Georgia State. Coastal Carolina coming into town. Georgia State, God, dude, they're just having a tough time. They just can't. They're the opposite of App State right now. They just keep finding ways to lose in tight games. And but that should be a good game on Thursday night. I think it's an ESPNU deal. But there's a bunch of other conference games. Which one? That's the one I'm looking forward to because, of course, I'll be there. And I'm going to tell you, man, I'm picking Georgia State.
Yeah,
I think they're going to get it done.
Since I'm going there with you, I'm going to say the same thing. Coastal at Georgia State. I'm thinking Georgia State as well. Bounce back game at home. Last time we were there a few years ago, they played App State. I guarantee it's going to be electric again because I think it was one of those kind of. I think was it a Thursday and Friday night game we went the first time. Might have been Saturday, but it was a nighttime game. They have a great fan base. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. It's probably going to be rowdy. Coastal gets their loss.
Yeah, Tip. What are you looking at?
Man, I'm looking at this Marshall at Troy game. Yep. Both teams coming off tough losses in week 3. How are these two teams going to respond? I think Troy, like I mentioned earlier, I think Troy's answered the question of can their offense score enough points? We know their defense is good. That yes, their offense can score enough points, and you can see, like I mentioned earlier, week after week they're starting to improve and they're playing better football. If Troy plays like they did last week against App State, they're going to beat Marshall. If Marshall plays like they did against Notre Dame, I think they'll win this game. Marshall right now is favored by 3. But based on last week, I personally think Troy's playing better football right now. So give me Troy to win at home.
I like that. I like that game a lot. And yeah, I think Marshall with their Notre Dame win and then just that kind of egg they laid last week, I just think that's tough to build off of, where Troy right now is sitting there saying like, hey boys, we just hung with the favorite in this conference and we should have beat them. And let's now build because we want to get a rematch. So I'm with you on Troy right there. I like that. I like that pick. Murph, what do you like?
The Dukes of James Madison roll into Boone, North Carolina. We are going to see if James Madison is the real deal or not. And I think they are. Todd Centeio, that quarterback, has been electric this season, putting up gaudy numbers. Could be a shootout in Boone, so that would be a good game to watch. And then my other one, going out in the Mountain West, UNLV at Utah State. Utah State was supposed to be one of the favorites. Haven't looked the part so far. UNLV's offense has been rolling. Can they keep it rolling going at Utah State? This will be the game that I'm watching.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, James Madison at App State. I mean, that's a game where that's about to be a rivalry game every year. That's
like
going to be
4 hours
just
different,
absolutely
like away.
ridiculous. Yeah. And they're just such similar programs, which is why it's going to be so good. But yeah, I like that UNLV. Utah State, man, they have not looked very good. You got some pretty good Group of 5 on Group of 5 non-conference games. So another one Jesse and I will be at is Ball State at Georgia Southern. So we're hitting Georgia State Thursday night, Georgia Southern on Saturday. Going to be an eventful weekend for us. Can't wait. We got rained out in Statesboro last year. So we did not really get to see the full tailgate experience or to see the crowd. And they've got that thing. I mean, they hung tight with UAB, and they've looked good the rest of the year. So I'm interested in that game. Anyway, even if we weren't going, I think Georgia Southern wins that game at home. I think they see some home field advantage. I think
I think
beat
Ball State keeps this. I think Ball
Yeah.
State keeps it close, though. I
Good
mean,
game.
we found Georgia Southern's weakness on defense this past weekend. I think it's their rushing defense. They gave up 288 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns against UAB, and they give up 239 rushing yards per game so far this season. So I look to see Ball State running back Carson Steele and the Ball State O-line. They need to take advantage of this weakness, and I think this could help them. This type of good running game that they should have, it's going to keep Kyle Van Treese and the Georgia Southern offense on the sideline. And so, I mean, Vegas has this over under at 64, so they think it's going to be a high scoring game, and I agree with them. I mean, I think Georgia Southern's offense is too good, but I like Ball State to keep it close though. Georgia Southern right now is favored by 9.5. I would take the Ball State plus 9.5 on that one.
It's crazy to hear Georgia Southern and high scoring shootout kind of game now. And I'll tell you this, Georgia Southern, they've historically had really good crowds, really good tailgates, but I've seen on some of their message boards that this year hasn't been the case. Well, hey guys, I know you've been bitching about the boring triple option. Great news, they don't do it anymore. Now they throw it all over the place. So get out there and watch the freaking Eagles play and support your damn team because they're good. They're undefeated. They haven't lost a conference game yet, so everybody's still in it in the Sun Belt. Murph, what are you looking at?
And I got 2 games, really. I mean, I think all the games you guys mentioned. But I'm going to go Western Michigan at San Jose State. San Jose State played Auburn tough a couple weeks ago. Western Michigan, I think, is a good football team. They beat San Jose State last year, I believe, at Western Michigan. So I think San Jose State's looking for a little payback. So I think that'll be a good game. And then the other game that I had, Southern Miss at Tulane. Calling it. The Eagles beat Tulane at home. I think Tulane coming off that win at Kansas State, same thing, kind of riding a little high. I think Southern Miss is hungry, looking for a win. Southern Miss, baby. Let's get it done.
You've awakened the hibernating bear. Jesse, rebuttal?
That was honestly the exact same game I was going to pick, just because I'm going to repeat everything he says because I respect what he says. Because I told you today at lunch, I said the group of 5, you just watch Southern Miss is going to beat them by 26 points or something. You just never know. It's going to be interesting to see how good Tulane is. Can Tulane come off this Kansas State win and stay consistent? I mean, it's right in front of them, man. They're 3-0 right now. I'm taking Tulane to win the game, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. It's at Southern Miss, right? So, is it at Tulane?
No, it's at Tulane.
It's at Tulane. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tulane by 100.
Hey, another
boys, real quick. Call me crazy here. Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
What do we think about Rice at Houston this week?
I think Houston's pissed off.
Houston's going to kill them.
Okay.
That's
after we all said that. Rice went probably.
Probably.
I thought you were going to go another route. I thought you were going to say, what about North Texas at Memphis? Because Memphis, some of us were high on North Texas, and I still like them a little bit. But Memphis,
I think Memphis has been playing good ball.
Yeah,
no,
Memphis
I saw that.
has
Yeah, I
been
think
under
Memphis
the
wins that
radar,
game.
playing pretty good. So I want to see them, and I want to see Toledo at San Diego State too. If San Diego State would be playing the way that I thought they were going to be playing this season, I would really like that game. But San Diego State's just they've been another one of the favorites that's just been dropping the ball, man.
And Sprouse, if Wyoming goes in there and shocks BYU, then your Air Force Falcons don't look. It's not that bad of a loss anymore.
Yeah, well, BYU got smoked this weekend too.
Yeah.
This season, I'm telling you, I tweeted about it. It's going to be like end of the year. We're going to look. It's going to be like that 07-08 season, except the difference this year, and I really, really hate to say it, but it does prove our point always. I think right now you've got the Georgia Bulldogs, and that might be about it. And that's what we always say is everybody else is everybody else. I think you got this year especially, 2, 3, maybe 4 teams, and that's it. I don't know where else you go. You got a team like BYU. You got Oregon, who they look like world beaters against BYU, but 2 weeks ago they got beat by 50 points by Georgia. So just never know. But I think at the end of the year we're going to be looking at a bunch of teams saying like, how the hell are they in the top 10, or how in the hell did they win that conference? But last thing before we go, one more time, if you guys haven't checked out Prize Picks, download the app, use our code GOFG, $100 match. If you deposit $100, they'll give you $100. They'll also match you at $25. So don't think you gotta, if you're not the daily fantasy type, don't feel like you gotta go in and put down $100. You get $25. They'll give you $25. I'll tell you who I am looking at in Prize Picks. I've already got it pulled up. I'm gonna check the box. Darren Granger out of Georgia State Thursday night, because I'll be there. That guy last week, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I think him and Grayson McCall are going to get into a bit of a shootout on Thursday night. And I'm glad I'm going to be there. I can't wait to see it. I might take both McCall and Granger. But anybody got anybody different than that?
I don't know if he's on Prize Picks yet, but I'm interested to see Michael Pratt at Tulane. I'm thinking that guy's going to probably throw at least 3 touchdown passes against Southern Miss. I see it being a blowout. Originally, I was going to say it's going to be a close game, but Tulane, this is just the year of the green wave. Take it to the Golden Eagle.
Little different, still similar, but a little higher pitch. The
Yeah.
Golden Eagle's a little higher pitch. Okay.
Going back to a guy Murph mentioned earlier in the show, I like Aiden Robbins against Utah State. Whatever, I don't know what his rushing yards total is at, but I'll take the over.
Yeah, because Utah State hadn't really been stopping a whole lot of people.
Right. Yep.
So I like that one too. I'm looking to see if usually, Jesse, on Prize Picks, the Saturday games won't be on there until either Thursday or Friday. So right now they only have like the Thursday night games on there, which that's typically what I'll do. I'll hit a Thursday game and then a Friday and then Saturday. I try to get them all on the weekend. But that's all we got for you tonight. Atlanta, Swag Bear and I will be there Thursday. If you're tailgating, we'll probably be up there with the Panther Athletic Club State of Atlanta tailgate right there by the stadium. If there's any Ball State folks making the trip, love to link up with some MAC people. We hadn't had a chance to meet a lot of MAC people yet, but we'd love to link up with some Ball State people. Probably go to Halfway Crooks, get some wings and beer before the game, before the tailgate. We'll see y'all there. And then Saturday in Statesboro, 100% chance we'll be eating shrimp nachos at Nat's Landing pregame. And then we will be tailgating. And then if all works out well, we will be in bed by approximately 10 p.m.
I just hope the Ball State fans go to Statesboro, not Atlanta. Ball State fans go to Statesboro. We'll see the Coastal Carolina fans on Thursday night.
That's a good point. First mistake I've ever made on the podcast. If you guys are watching and want to know why there's a bunch of edits and clips on this episode, put it this way, it wasn't because of me. But yes, that is correct. Ball State, do not go to Atlanta. You go to both, actually. You can do both. You go to Atlanta Thursday night and then head down to Statesboro.
I do hope we see some Ball State fans, though, in Statesboro. You know, I'd like mingling some more Maction people.
Yeah.
Also, too, if you're any FAU, FIU fans in Miami area, give me a shout. Hit me up on the Twitters.
Go to the Sizzler.
I'll get some wings at another place.
Best wings in town, lemon pepper, about 2 a.m., Jeff. You know all about them. That's all we got for you guys tonight. Like I said, Atlanta and Statesboro, we'll see y'all this weekend. And Miami might see Jeff Murphy this weekend. Group of 5 guys, we are out of here.